Miss O'Keefe again. I'm here with you to finish our reading of Love That Dog by Sharon Creech to celebrate Poetry Month. I love Jack and I love Miss Stretchberry's class. I wish I was there with them, so I hope you've been enjoying it as well. Jack, in our last section, told us all about his yellow dog and how he went to the pound with his dad to find him, and makes me want that yellow dog. He loves him so much. He also got brave and decided it was okay for Miss Stretchberry to actually put his name on some of the poems that she was putting on the wall that he wrote, so that was pretty cool. And he noticed that there were some other kids in class who still were feeling unconfident and didn't want their names put on their poems and didn't get it because he was like, your poems are so good. So again, just the idea that anybody can write a poem and we're all good at it even though we might not think we are. So we're going to finish the book today, and it starts with March 14th, and we'll see what goes on with Jack. All right, March 14th. That was the best poem you read yesterday by Mr. Walter Dean Myers. The best poem ever. I'm sorry I took the book home without asking. I only got one spot on it. That's why the page is torn. I tried to get the spot out. I copied that best poem and hung it on my bedroom wall right over my bed where I can see it when I'm lying down. Maybe you could copy it too and hang it on the wall in our class where we can see it when we're sitting at our desks doing our stuff. I sure liked that poem by Mr. Walter Dean Myers called Love That Boy because of two reasons I liked it. One is because my dad calls me in the morning just like that. He calls, "Hey there, son." And also because when I had my yellow dog, I loved that dog and I would call him like this. I'd say, "Hey there, Sky." His name was Sky. I love how much Jack loves his dog, and I also love Walter Dean Myers, who he's talking about right now. He's an amazing poet and author, so you should look him up sometime. March 22nd. My yellow dog followed me everywhere, every which way I turned. He was there, wagging his tail and slobber coming out of his mouth when he was smiling at me all the time, as if he was saying, "Thank you, thank you, thank you for choosing me," and jumping up on me, his shaggy, straggly paws on my chest like he was trying to hug the insides right out of me. And when us kids were playing outside, kicking the ball, he'd chase after it and push it with his nose, push, 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 and getting slobber all over the ball. But no one cared because he was such a funny dog, that dog Sky, that straggly, furry, smiling dog Sky. And I'd call him every morning, every evening, "Hey there, Sky." March 27th. Yes, you can type up what I wrote about my dog Sky, but don't type up that other secret one I wrote. The one all folded up in the envelope with tape on it. That one uses too many of Walter Dean Myers' words, and maybe Mr. Walter Dean Myers would get mad about that. April 4th. I was very glad to hear that Mr. Walter Dean Myers is not the sort of person who would get mad at a boy for using some of his words. And thank you for typing up my secret poem, the one that uses so many of Mr. Walter Dean Myers' words. And I like what you put at the top, inspired by Mr. Walter Dean Myers. That sounds good to my ears. Now, no one will think I just copied because I couldn't think of my own words. They will know I was inspired by Mr. Walter Dean Myers. But don't put it on the board yet, okay? Is Mr. Walter Dean Myers a live person? And if he is, do you think he could ever come to our city, to our school, to our class? And if he did, we should hide my poem with his words. Hide it real good, just in case he would get mad about that. Jack's funny. April 9th. No. No, 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 no. I can't do it. You should do it. You're a teacher. April 12th. I don't agree that Mr. Walter Dean Myers might like to hear from a boy who likes his poems. I think Mr. Walter Dean Myers would like to hear from a teacher who uses big words and knows how to spell and to type. April 17th. Dear Mr. Walter Dean Myers, so the teacher got her way. Dear Mr. Walter Dean Myers, you probably don't want to hear from me because I'm only a boy and not a teacher and I don't use big words. And you probably won't want to read this, or even if you do read it, you probably are way too busy to answer it, let alone do the thing I'm going to ask you. And I want you to know that's okay, because our teacher says writers are very, 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 very busy trying to write their words. And the phone is ringing and the fax is going and the bills need paying and sometimes they get sick. I hope you're not sick. or their family gets sick, or their electricity goes off, or the car needs fixing, or they have to go to the grocery store, or do the laundry, or clean up messes. I don't know how you find time to write your words if you have to do all that stuff, and maybe you should get a helper. So, what I'm asking you is this. If you ever get time to leave your house, and if you ever feel like visiting a school where there might be some kids who like your poems, would you ever maybe think about maybe coming maybe to our school, which is a clean place with mostly nice people in it, and I think our teacher, Miss Stretchberry, would maybe even make brownies for you because she sometimes makes them for us. I hope I haven't too much stopped you from doing your writing of words and fixing your car and getting groceries and all that stuff. Just to read this letter, which probably is taking you maybe 15 minutes, and in that time you could have maybe written a whole new poem, or at least the start of one, and so I'm sorry for taking up your time, and I understand if you can't come to our clean school and read some of your poems to us and let us see your face, which I bet is a friendly face. My name is Jack. Bye, Mr. Walter Dean Myers. What do you think? Is Mr. Walter Dean Myers going to go see Jack at his school? I hope so. Let's find out. April 20th. Did you mail it? Did he answer yet? April 24th. Months? It might take months for Mr. Walter Dean Myers to answer my letter, if he answers it. I don't know. Until you explained that the letter has to go to Mr. Walter Dean Myers' publisher's company, and then someone at the publisher company has to sort all the mail, not just my letter, but hundreds and hundreds of letters to hundreds of authors. All that big mess of mail piled up, and someone sorting all that mail, and then the letters for Mr. Walter Dean Myers go to him, and maybe he's away, maybe he's on vacation, maybe he's sick, maybe he's hiding in a room writing poems, maybe he's babysitting his children or his grandchildren, if he's married and stuff, or maybe he has to go to the dentist or get that car fixed, or maybe someone died. I really, really, really hope someone did not die. So, if you ask me, it could take him years to get around to answering that letter. So I guess we'd better just forget about it, not count on it, get it out of our minds, do something else, forget it. Probably not going to be very easy, huh? April 26th. Sometimes when you're trying not to think about something, it keeps popping back into your head. You can't help it. You think about it and think about it and think about it until your brain feels like a squashed pea. I know what that feels like, don't you? When you just can't get something out of your head and it drives you crazy. May 2nd. Yes, you can type up the thing about trying not to think about something, but you'd better leave my name off of it because it was just words coming out of my head and I wasn't paying too much attention to which words came out when. May 7th. Maybe you could show me how to use the computer and then I could type my own words. May 8th. I didn't know about that spell checking thing inside the computer. It's like a miracle little brain in there, a little helper brain. But I am a slow typer person. Did you say there's a teaching typing thing in that computer too? Will it help me type better and faster? Tap, 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 so my fingers can go as fast as my brain? May 14th. I typed this up myself. My Sky. We were outside in the street, me and some other kids kicking the ball before dinner, and Sky was chasing with his feet going every which way and his tail wagging, and his mouth slobbering, and he was all over the place, smiling and wagging and slobbering and making us laugh, and my dad came walking up the street. He was way down there near the end. I could see him after he got off the bus, and he was walking, and I saw him wave, and he called out, "Hey there, son!" And so I didn't see the car coming from the other way until someone else, one of the big kids, called out, "Car!" And I turned around and saw a blue car splattered with mud speeding down the road. And I saw Sky going after the ball, wagging his tail, and I called him, "Sky, Sky!" And he turned his head, but it was too late because the blue car splattered with mud hit Sky. Thud, 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 and kept on going in such a hurry, so fast, so many miles to go, it couldn't even stop. And Sky was just there in the road, lying on his side with his legs bent funny and his side heaving, and he looked up at me, and I said, "Sky, Sky, Sky," And then my dad was there, and he lifted Sky out of the road and laid him on the grass. And Sky closed his eyes, and he never opened them again, ever. So Jack has been really working on all of these poems, and he just combined them all, right, to tell us about how his dog got hit by a car. It's really sad. But anytime you read a story about a dog, you know it's going to be sad. They never end happily, so I'm sorry for that. Let's see what happens. May 15th. I don't know. If you put it on the board and people read it, it might make them sad. It made me sad. May 17th. Okay, I guess I'll put my name on it. But I hope it doesn't make people feel too sad. And if it does, maybe you could think of something to cheer everybody up. Like maybe with some of those brownies you make, the chocolate ones that are so good. May 21st. Wow. Wow, 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 wow! That was the best news ever. I can't believe it. Mr. Walter Dean Myers is really coming to our school. He was coming to our city anyway to see his old buddy, and he would be honored to visit our clean school and meet the mostly nice kids who like his poems. We sure are lucky that his old buddy lives in our town. Wow! May 28th. The bulletin board looks like it's blooming words with everybody's poems up there on all those colored sheets of paper, yellow, blue, pink, green. And the bookcase looks like it's sprouting books, all of them by Mr. Walter Dean Myers, lined up, looking back at us, waiting for Mr. Walter Dean Myers himself to come to our school, right into our classroom. Wow! May 29th. I can't wait. I can't sleep. Are you sure you hid my poem that was inspired by Mr. Walter Dean Myers? I don't want to do anything to upset him. June 1st, Mr. Walter Dean Myers Day. I never in my whole life ever heard anybody who could talk like that, Mr. Walter Dean Myers. All of my blood in my veins was bubbling, and all of the thoughts in my head were buzzing, and I wanted to keep Mr. Walter Dean Myers at our school forever. June 6th. Dear Mr. Walter Dean Myers, thank you 100 million times for leaving your work and your family and your things people have to do to come and visit us in our school, in our class. We hope you liked your visit. We think maybe you did, because you were smiling all over the place. And when you read your poems, you had the best voice. Low and deep and friendly and warm, like it was reaching out and wrapping us all up in a big squeeze. And when you laughed, you had the best laugh I've ever heard in my life, like it was coming from way down deep and bubbling up and rolling, tumbling out into the air. We hope we didn't ask you too many questions, but we thank you for answering every which one, and especially for saying that you would be flattered if someone used some of your words, and especially if they added a note that they were inspired by Walter Dean Myers. And it was nice of you to read all of our poems on the bulletin board, and I hope it didn't make you too sad when you read the one about my dog Sky getting smushed in the road. And I think you liked the brownies too, right? Thank you for coming to see us, Mr. Walter Dean Myers. Inside this envelope is a poem using some of your words. I wrote it. It was inspired by you, Mr. Walter Dean Myers, from your #1 fan, Jack. Let's see what he wrote. Love That Dog is what it's called. Inspired by Walter Dean Myers by Jack. Love that dog like a bird loves to fly. I said I love that dog like a bird loves to fly. Love to call him in the morning, love to call him, hey there, Sky. And that's the end. What a great book, right? All written in poems. I just love it. If you loved this book, there's another one that's called Hate That Cat. And it looks like this, but it's red, and it's about a cat instead of a dog. It's by Sharon Creech also, and it's real short and written in poems. So if you want another one, look at Love That Cat. So for our last poem with Love That Dog, what I would like for you to do is read the poem that's attached below that was actually by Walter Dean Myers, and it's the one that was inspired by Jack, and it's called Love That Boy. And that's the one that Jack liked so much and wrote Love That Dog about. So look at Love That Boy, and then look at the example poem that was an imitation of it, and then see what you can come up with. But replace boy with something else. So Jack replaced boy with love, and he wrote Love That Dog. I replaced it with book, of course, and wrote Love That Book. What are you going to do? Maybe love that bird, or love that brother, or love that car, or I don't know. What's something that's really important to you? Love that Lego? Who knows? So think about something and replace the boy with love that, you fill in the blank, and then look at the poem and see if you can come up with one of your own. I would love, love, love it if you shared it with me in the comments. Happy Poetry Month. Keep reading, keep writing.